Welcome back, and today in this video I am going to have a couple of videos coming out. I had one earlier either last night or this morning. This one will be either this morning or mid-morning. This video is going to be on Rygar. Now, Rygar is the ancient exclusive, Nightmare Lord, who has finally reared his rather ugly head, ironically, and I did want him. Not gonna lie, he's not super great, but I was hoping to get him. I did not, as you could see, and it wasn't for lack of trying. If you saw the summon video earlier, or a couple days ago, the day that the ban actually went through, ironically, you'll see that I did a number of summons for him in that video. I did like 57, 58, something like that. And then all of the reset reset ancients that I got, I pulled those. I pulled some today, just whatever I could scrounge together. I did not get him. Such is life. Let's see, that puts me 10, 22, 34, 64, 66, 76, 79, 82, 85, 88, 91, 92, 94, 97, 97 into pity. So within the next 103 pulls, I will get a Lord. I was hoping for it to be him. It might still be in the future. It's not like he's limited time. He's just on rate up right now. He's not what everybody expected. Everybody expected him to be OP. He is not OP. He is not Praetus level. He is not Ingrid level. He's not Valderon level, in my opinion. However, he is good. If you look at it from a Nightmare perspective, Nightmare only perspective, or actually, you know what? No. What we're going to do is we're going to look at in a Lord perspective. So, watch guards. We have Leia and Ingrid, both great units in their own regard. Obviously, they carry two very different roles, and they're two very good units. So this is an outlier, right? We look at the North Throne. Hearts, he's a terrible tank. He's good for his Lord bonus, but that's it. Elder, he's a terrible fighter, and he's okay in his Lord bonus, sure. It's just not great. Like, both of these Lord bonuses, very lackluster, and the units themselves are lackluster. They're handy, but they're by no means OP. We'll come back to Nightmare. Cursed Cult. We have Demi, and we have Morgan. Morgan, terrible unit. She doesn't do nearly enough damage to be considered a good unit. She does do some other things, but honestly, she's not that great of a unit. Demi, honestly, she's very, very niche. She can do some decent damage, but she's not great. And she's very difficult to make work. Now, Morgan has a better Lord skill than Demi, and Demi is the ancient exclusive. Morgan is 25% extra AoE damage for faction members. Demi is whenever the faction team member kills an enemy, they get increased damage by 12% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. This goes up to 36% damage for 5 seconds if they're non-stop killing units or enemies. I mean, this is impossible to keep up for a long period of time, and to be completely honest, you need the 12% beforehand just to get the kills. Morgan is always providing 25%. Period. Just always on AoE damage, always 25%. So we have a case of basic Lord being better in most situations than Ancient Exclusive. Alright, next, Soul Cadence. Soul Cadence and Twin Fiend, both good units. Soul Cadence, what he does is he does damage. That's it. He just does damage. Magic damage, he does it really good. Twin Fiend does the same thing. But Twin Fiend interacts with Zillatu better than Soul Cadence, as far as I'm aware. Soul Cadence takes all of the damage for himself. Twin Fiend provides it for everybody and takes some of it himself. But in all reality, the upgrade from Soul Cadence, or from Twin Fiend to Soul Cadence, is marginal. You're going to get more damage. That's it. So, sure. Star Piercers. Honestly, Araka, in most situations, will have a better Lord bonus than Yovar. Unless Yovar stays on the field. If Yovar stays on the field, then yes. When deployed, faction team members' damage increases by 15% every 20 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So this is, what, 45% increase in damage. Great. 45% increase in damage in a minute. Indefinitely. Great. Araka doesn't need to be deployed, and as long as they are at, the damage increases by 5% up to 50% for every tile they are away from them. This caps out at 10 tiles, so the only one that can take full advantage of it is Ingrid, or not Ingrid, Idril at the moment, but still, this is solid. If they're 4 tiles away, that's a 20% increase just for free, right? If they're 5 tiles away, it's 25% for free. Araka doesn't even need to be placed. Yovar has to be placed. Yovar does solid damage himself, but there's plenty of times where you need a ground unit in a lot of Piercer content, and you don't have any. So, I mean, you have some, but you don't have many. So, in that sense, the marginal increase, he does damage better than Araka. That's the biggest thing. And Araka just recently got a buff, so I haven't really tested that out. Now, let's look at Esoteria. We have Venoma. Terrible unit. Great Lord bonus. This is handy, but it is literally just for the first deployment. So, I mean, it's marginal. Unless you're having a large burst early on, this means nothing. And then we look at Cyrus. Reduces skill cost by 25%, and when an ally is defeated or retreats, increases the damage of other faction team members by 25% for 8 seconds. It can be triggered once every 12 seconds. Great. I mean, sure. It's good and all, but he's a good tank. But apart from that, I mean, this Lord skill is a little bit lackluster unless his summons a skeleton fighter. This doesn't say that it's part of their faction. If the skeleton fighters were counted as part of the faction, or the skeleton warriors, then that would be huge damage increase for him. But I don't know if they are. So, in all reality, neither one of these two are super OP. Cyrus, like I said, he's a great tank. He is. No question about that. He's great for GVG. Chaos Dominion, these are Ancient exclusive, so might as well compare them. And Praetus, obviously Praetus is one of the best units in the game. If they made another one of him, everybody would be pissed. Unnamables, they're very niche. So, there's that. So, we go back to this, and in all reality, Rygar is on par with a lot of these other lords. So, he's getting a lot of unwarranted hate, in my opinion. He's a solid damage dealer. He's not the best in his faction. Whatever. He's a solid damage dealer, though. I can't test him, but I would like to test him alongside, like, Valderon, see how they do against each other. I'm sure Valderon will do more damage, but Rygar is also going to help his faction more than what Valderon helps his faction. That's just end of the day fact. Because his Lord skill does help. It's not as good as Twin Fiends, but Torador, but Torador is extremely strong for a regular Lord. And a lot of people just take that for granted. Now, a lot of people have made the argument, okay, well, anywhere I would want to use Rygar, I could use Torador instead. I fully disagree. One place, Guild Boss 2. Not on my main team, though, because my main team is this. As you can see, this has all the slots filled. I don't really need any more damage dealers. However, if you look here, I'm missing Arrogance. I'm missing, like, here, let me sort by Nightmare. So, I'm missing Arrogance. I'm missing Lust. I don't have Salazar in here. I don't have Yuri in here. And you see, I could have a lot more Nightmare fighters in a team. That's where he would be coming major handy. A secondary team for when Apocalypse 3 comes out, where Wrath doesn't fit Apocalypse 2. However, Rygar could, and he could fill that slot. And then I could run a secondary faction like North with a tank in it and a couple other things, or I could run something along those lines, right? This is where Rygar would come in handy for that secondary team. Another place I would rather have the option of using Rygar over Torador. Void Rift, especially when you get into Nightmare, you only have 8 units that you can bring, period. So Rygar covers a fighter and a Lord position. Torador, in a lot of these maps, just doesn't get placed because he's just there for the Lord bonus. If I can bring somebody to place that also provides a Lord bonus, that's just a free slot, right? That's covering 2 slots for me. That's great. Another place that I could see Artifact Material Raid, he would be handy there for lower levels like 18 minus, and honestly, the physical stages he could come in handy for. I don't know for sure I would, but he could come in handy there. Other place, Faction Trials. Faction Trials, I don't even have Torador in my Faction Trials team. Now, a lot of this isn't endgame use, but not everybody's endgame, right? People are building up, and Trial of the Nightmare, Rygar, he would do great there. I actually have Wrath as my Lord because I used him. I used Wrath to clear it because I needed a fighter. I didn't need a tank. I had Baron. Baron fills the tank role perfectly fine. Right? I mean, at the end of the day, Baron is a solid tank. Torador is a good tank too, but I mean, Torador provides stuns and a defense reduction. Rygar does both of those too. Not as consistently. Well, the stun, I think he could do more consistently than Torador. The damage reduction or defense down, I think he does less consistently. Torador, he does that on his basic attack. Rygar has a chance to do either. So there is that. But yeah, I mean, I could see him having some use in Arena. I don't know if that's... I mean, I can almost guarantee he'd have some use in Arena. Single target. Torador is only there for a Lord bonus. You don't need a tank generally. Rygar, he deals the damage too. Yeah, you don't get that chance of an extra hit, but anytime Rygar ults, everybody's basic attack on the same faction is just getting more damage. Where else? I could see him having some use in Drake's Chasm if you're short on damage dealers. I am not, so he would have no use for me there. But that's just me. Campaign, I could see him being a huge help for people clearing early campaign. Tide, I'm sure he builds BP pretty well. I'm not positive on that. Resource raid, sure, he could be handy there. The fighter trials, he could be handy there. There's a lot of places where, no, he's not going to be best in slot. But it's the same issue as Valderon. Valderon isn't always best in slot either. Right? I mean, and Valderon's looked at as one of the best lords in the game. And Rygar, he's obviously not going to sit on that same level as him. But, I mean, he's also providing more utility. So, I think Rygar is a lot better than what a lot of people are letting on and presuming to believe. But, I don't have him, so I can't really test him. I am now 16 minutes into this video, and I haven't even gone over his stats. I've just been talking about him and where I would like to use him. He's got 28k HP, solid for a fighter, 6200 attack, solid. Solid defense, sure. Attack interval 2.6 seconds. He's block of 2. He's got a range of 2, which makes a very good fighter. His hammer attack has a 20% chance to inflict stun, and axe attack has a 20% chance to inflict damage reduction, the defense reduction of 20%. And pretty much the way his basic attack works is he has a chance to either hit with the hammer, the axe, or a lower percentage chance to hit with both. So if he has got a 40% chance to choose one or the other, and then a 20% chance, because that equals out to a total of 100% chance. So the extra 20% chance is a chance to use Warlord's Might, which he attacks with both weapons simultaneously, which deals double damage, and has a chance to trigger both talents, stun and defense reduction. Solid. When he does his ult for 25 seconds, and it doesn't look like this goes up. No, it doesn't go up. For 25 seconds, basic attack is always going to do Warlord's Might. So he's always going to attack with both, and doubles the chance of inflicting stun and defense reduction. Every 3 attacks triggers an earthquake that deals 200% damage to one main target and 50% to up to 5 enemies nearby. Solid damage. I mean, just good. And it goes up to every attack having a 40% chance to inflict defense reduction and a stun. You build him fast, he's going to do that solidly. Passive number 1, his Warlord's Might ignores 15% of the target's defense, and when it's triggered, it increases his attack by 2% for 10 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times, and this goes up to 5% and 5% damage or defense extra penetration, maybe? Or does 5% penetration? Not sure on that exactly. But what this means is during his ult, he's always going to have 15% more attack. Solid. That's just solid. Every 70 seconds resists 1 instance of damage. When triggered, increases his damage by 15% for 10 seconds. Each time the hero deals damage, reduces the cooldown of this effect by 1 second. What this means is he's going to boost his survivability a ton. That is really good for him. Guild Boss 2, he's going to be consistently doing damage. So this cooldown is going to drop. It goes down to 60 seconds every time he does damage. So this will probably drop down to like every 35 seconds or so. Maybe less, or maybe more. Who knows? It depends on how you build him. But he's going to just resist damage. Guild Boss 2, this is going to be great. If you can build him fast enough, he could just resist almost all damage in Guild Boss 2, which is great for his survivability. I mean, that's insane. This is a major utility that a lot of people just aren't paying any attention to. This allows him to be outside healer range in a lot of cases and just get backup heals. So yeah. And then his Lord skill, he's got the first part, which is the same as Torador, which is increases if you have 4 faction allies on the or placed on the field, or you place 4 faction allies. They don't have to stay on the field, but you place them. 4 separate faction allies. It can't be the same unit placed 4 times. It's got to be separate units. They get 35% attack speed increase, but their healing is reduced by 15%. Not a big deal. That's the same as Torador. This is where a lot of people are like, well, he's not as good as Torador. When he's a Lord and the ultimate is triggered, faction team members gains the buff of basic attack increases by 25%. Basic attack damage increases by 25%, and each basic attack restores 3% rage, or 3% HP. Oh, this would be so OP if it was rage. But 3% HP per attack. And the applied buffs last until the end of the ultimate. So for 25 seconds, everybody on his team is getting their basic attack increased by 25% damage. This is not as strong as Torador. Obviously, Torador, the thing with him is the team members, 1, he doesn't have to be placed, and 2, the team members have a 30% chance of landing an extra hit. Every time they hit, it has a chance of hitting twice. That's just very OP, honestly. But this is still good. And obviously he's not going to take the place of Torador. He's not as good as Torador in Lord skill alone, in my opinion. But in all other regards, he is solid. And I did want him because there's a lot of places I could find use for him. A lot of people are just downing on him because he's not Ingrid, he's not Praetus, he's not Valderon level. But that, in my opinion, that's not really fair. If you want the game to stay steady, which, I mean, we see how that's been this weekend. If you want the game to stay steady, we can't have massive power creep every new unit. It's the same situation as Yuri. Yuri is solid. I think him and Yuri, for the roles they fill, are on equal terms. They're good, but not extraordinary, right? They're good. They're solid. They're usable. And that's what you want as units. You want units that give you options and can still complete the task. And that's what he is, in my opinion. But I didn't get him, so that's just my opinion on it without testing him. Could I be wrong? Sure. I mean, that's part of it. But I guess we won't know until eventually I pull him. If I eventually pull him. Who knows? I still don't have Soul Cadence. I mean, he may never come to my squad. Who knows? But that will do it for this video. Oh, one other thing. They should have given him a cinematic. He should definitely have a cinematic. With a unit look like this, it's criminal for him not to have a cinematic. Same with Yuri, honestly. Yuri should have a cinematic too. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not in charge of that, and in all reality, I just want the game to be open. We are open now, but for how long? That's yet to be determined, yet to be seen. But that will do it for this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Let me know if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right. Definitely, I'd be happy to hear your opinion on it. But if you liked the video, definitely like it. If you want to see more from me, subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.